well, just to, move on. Dr. George Fraser. I don't know if you know who this guy is. This guy is Googling Dr. George Fraser. He breaks down the crisis of Black family and building wealth. Dr. Fraser highlights troubling statistics around marriage rates and household incomes across racial and ethnic groups in the U.S. The data points to a growing crisis within the African American community where marriage rates are significantly lower than those of other groups, raising important questions about family structure, economic stability, and long term generational outcomes. The goal is to spark reflection, deepen understanding, and encourage more conversations about rebuilding strong foundations with Black households. Addressing these challenges is key to shaping a more empowered and unified future. So, Dr. George Fraser is pretty much breaking down the statistics that married folks do better than single folks. I've been married, unfortunately, no longer married, but what I find out is that when you do have a partner and you are on the same page and you are building together, it typically ends up being a outstanding financial family dynamic, right? So, you know, I just think divorce is, running rampant through our communities, of course. I don't know why we can't really get along with each other. A lot of folks say, it's bigger than us. It happened way before we got here, and now we're here, and it just tends to, sometimes lapse when it comes to our Black relationships with one another. Um, I know just going through what I've gone through, I understand on the other side some of the pitfalls that I participated in, in order to not be in that relationship anymore. And I've grown from it. I understand now, what my goals and future relationships need to be. Um, it's tough though. You can't just be in these relationships when you're not happy in these relationships. I don't think anyone should have to just stay into something that they're no longer happy being a part of. Not to say that things don't get tough, not to say that, it ain't gonna always be peachy and cream, but I think if you with someone that you genuinely care about, you genuinely love, and you genuinely have some things that you both are, searching and figuring out together. I think all couples should have businesses. Businesses is really the key to it to me. I think, a lot of times when you're in these, relationships, you're depending on one or two incomes, and the incomes are the ones that's pretty much taking care of everything. But what I've grown to understand that if you got businesses together, then you shouldn't have money problems, because businesses should take care of all your money problems. And whatever you got coming in from your regular, day jobs, that should be icing on the cake. I know I'm, in a situation now where I'm building with someone, and that's exactly what we're doing. And it's just so stress free over here. We don't have to be worried about money. We're making good money. And our businesses are starting to get off the ground, and we're starting to, replace our incomes and replace, the debt that we have. It's just a beautiful thing. So I just think one of the keys to, making sure that you kind of keep everything in perspective and build accordingly is don't just rely on the everyday incomes. There's so many ways to get money, so many ways to get to that bag. Why would that be the case? And the one thing that I find out being in business with somebody that you adore, someone that you care about, it's just fun. It's just fun to, wake up and go after something, and both of you guys are on the same page. It just makes for a long lasting, loving relationships because you're in the trenches with that person. You learn that person's weaknesses, you learn that person's strengths, and you end up being able to build something that not just you and that person are proud of, but the people that around you are proud of as well, because they see that you and that individual are, getting it from the mud, so to speak. So I get it. I know we divorcing each other at a rapid pace, and I don't like it, but sometimes some things just don't work out according to plan. And you have to be brave enough to understand that and know that and move on. Wish everybody well. Don't, sprinkle no hate on nobody. Pray for that person to have a outstanding life because you want to have an outstanding life. So the key is to stay together, of course. But if you can't find that to be the case in some of these relationships, that don't mean that you have to stop looking for the person that you can create, build, and actually have a great life with that individual. And I think a big part of that is having a business that you both can enjoy, both work at on a day-to-day basis, and allow yourself to build generational wealth that way. And then what you find out is when it's time for you to go see your maker, you always have a business to leave to the individual children who could potentially continue to create generational wealth for the next generation. So although we're divorcing, we are also marrying. And if we are already married and we're not happy